party night in a college town.
There's just so many people around and out at all hours. There was always something going on.
At Kilroy's Bar in Bloomington, Indiana, students from Indiana University pack the place and then head home in the early morning hours.
You feel there was never like a question of me being unsafe.
Lauren Spierer, born January 17, 1991, is an American woman who disappeared on June 3, 2011, following an evening at Kilroy's Sports Bar in Bloomington, Indiana. At the time, Spierer was a 20-year-old student at Indiana University. Though her disappearance generated national press coverage, Spierer is presumed dead and her case remains unsolved. Lauren Spierer was born January 17, 1991, to Charlene and Robert Spierer. Her father was an accountant. She grew up in Scarsdale, New York, an affluent town in lower Westchester County. Spierer graduated from Edgemont High School in 2009 and enrolled at Indiana University, where she was studying textiles merchandising. Spierer was active in the Jewish community at IU and had spent the previous spring break planting trees in Israel on behalf of the Jewish National Fund. Spierer met her boyfriend, Jesse Wolf, and her friend, Jay Rosenbaum, years earlier at Camp Tawanda, a summer camp in the mountain town of Honesdale, Pennsylvania. It was there she also met various other future IU students who later became Spierer's circle of friends. When she enrolled at IU in 2009, Spierer lived off campus at the Smallwood Plaza apartment complex in downtown, and her first year of college was going really well. She had a lot of friends, she was very social and was just enjoying this new chapter of her life. Her boyfriend Jesse Wolf also attended IU, so they were going through this new experience together and they somewhat had a similar circle of friends. So just like any typical college student, Lauren did enjoy going out socializing with her friends and attending a lot of parties. However, she did have a rare heart condition which required medication, and because of this she had an increased risk of an irregular heartbeat which could lead to her fainting, having a seizure, or even sudden death. When her parents dropped her off at college, they felt they didn't have anything to worry about and that the campus was very safe. They were excited for their daughter to experience college and they would visit her as often as they could. In the summer of 2011, Lauren had just finished her second year at IU and was taking a summer class before heading to New York for an internship at anthropology. Explain on June 2, 2011, Lauren texted her boyfriend Jesse Wolf and told him that she was going to sleep after watching the NBA basketball game. Pretty much everyone was going to be watching the basketball game. Some people were going to the local bar, some people were hosting parties, but Jesse said that he didn't really want to go out that night and decided to stay home and watch the game from there. However, Lauren did want to have a little get-together, so she invited some friends over to her apartment and they had some wine and watched the game there. When the game ended, Lauren did not go to sleep like she told her boyfriend. Instead, she decided to go out to a party at around midnight on June 3. Lauren and her friend David Ron left her apartment and headed just a few blocks down to another friend's party. They arrived to their friend Jay Rosenbaum's apartment, who lived at the 5 North Townhomes. Jay was hosting a small get-together. From what I've read, there was only like 10 to 15 people at this party. 2 of those people included Corey Rossman and his roommate Michael Beth, who lived right next door. Now, Lauren didn't really know Corey and Michael that well. They were kind of like acquaintances, like not complete strangers but also not best friends. So Lauren was there hanging out with this group, and at around 1:30 in the morning, her and Corey decided to leave Jay's apartment and head to a bar. Corey and Lauren arrived to the Kilroy Sports Bar at around 1:46 in the morning. This was a very popular bar to the college students around the community, so the bar was pretty packed and people were still partying at this time. So Corey and Lauren are at this bar, they're having a couple of drinks, and at this point both of them were pretty intoxicated. Lauren even left her cell phone at this bar, and she also left her shoes there. The outside patio of the bar had some sand to kind of make it look like a beach bar, so Lauren was hanging out on the patio. She took off her shoes so she could be in the sand, and she accidentally left them there. I'm pretty sure Lauren was using a fake ID because she was only 20 years old, so that's how she was able to get the drinks at the bar. So after some time at the bar, Corey and Lauren decide to leave Kilroy's and they start heading over to her apartments at the Smallwood Plaza complex. When they get there, they take the elevator up to the 5th floor where Lauren lived, and in the hallway they run into 4 guys. I've seen some reports saying that These were Jesse Wolf's friends, Lauren's boyfriend. I've seen other reports saying that they didn't know Lauren. There's just a lot of different statements as to who these 4 men were. Apparently they don't like how Corey is handling Lauren, so they confront him. Corey makes a snarky comment back at them, and then one of the guys punches Corey in the face. This knocks Corey to the ground, and he claims this gave him a concussion and he doesn't really remember what happened the rest of the night. Once Corey gets back on his feet, surveillance footage shows Corey and Lauren leaving her apartment and walking to Corey's apartment between 2:48 and 2:51 am. They were seen walking along an alleyway leading up to 11th Street, and at this point Lauren definitely seems out of it. She's barefoot, she's stumbling around the alleyway, she's falling down. She eventually drops her purse and her keys, which were later found at this alleyway. There was also a lot of glass and like garbage around this alleyway. So Corey decided to pick Lauren up and carry her over his shoulder. There is a witness that saw Lauren stumbling around in this alleyway, and they asked her if she was okay, and she said she was. So Corey is carrying Lauren over his shoulder, and they finally make it to his apartment at the 5 North Townhouse. When they arrive, his roommate Michael Beth, who I mentioned earlier, lets Corey and Lauren inside, and he says that Corey just looked terrible. Corey was vomiting all over the apartment. He was stumbling around, slurring his words, and he obviously just seemed very intoxicated. So Michael helps Corey go to his room and he puts him to bed. Then he tells Lauren that she's more than welcome to sleep on his couch until the following morning because it wasn't safe for her to go out alone, and again she also seemed very intoxicated. According to him, she said that she wanted to continue partying and invited him back to her apartment to drink. Michael said he didn't want to party anymore, that he was done for the night, so instead he walked Lauren over to Jay's apartment, which is a guy that was hosting the party earlier that day. So Michael walks next door and tells Jay that he needs to take care of Lauren. Jay brings Lauren inside of his apartment and he tells Lauren, listen, just sleep on the couch, sleep it off, and tomorrow morning you can go back home. Again they claim that Lauren said no, that she wanted to continue partying, she wanted to go back to her apartment to drink, but that both of them said no. So since neither one of them wanted to party with Lauren, Lauren said she wanted to leave. So Jay was like, alright, you can leave, but just text me when you find your phone. Then according to him, Lauren left his townhome at around 4:30 am and began walking east on 11th Street. She had just about 2.5 blocks to walk from Jay's apartment to her own apartment. She was barefoot, she didn't have her phone, she didn't have her purse, she didn't have her keys, and she was wearing black leggings and a white shirt. Jay says he saw her go up the street heading home, and then he closed the door behind him and went to bed. Later that morning when Wolf woke up, he decided to call Lauren just to check in on her. However, instead of Lauren picking up the phone, an employee from the Kilroy Sports Bar picked up the phone and told Jesse that Lauren was there earlier that night and had left her phone and her shoes there. Now Wolf is a little confused because Lauren had told him that she was going to bed after the basketball game, so he didn't really understand how Lauren was at this bar and how she had left her belongings there, so he was just kind of confused. He decided to call Lauren's roommates to see if they knew where she was, but none of them had seen her. He meets up with some of the roommates to begin looking around the apartment, looking around the campus, the community, but there was just absolutely no sign of Lauren. After finding no sign of Lauren, Wolf decided to call the Bloomington Police Department and report his girlfriend as missing. I'm not sure if Wolf or maybe one of Lauren's roommates notified Lauren's sister Rebecca, but she was the one that told her parents. Friday, June 3, 2011. 12:30 a.m., witnesses report that Spierer left her apartment with a friend named David Ron. The pair went to Jay Rosenbaum's apartment, and she met up with Corey Rossman, Rosenbaum's neighbor. 1:46 a.m., Spierer is seen entering Kilroy's sports bar. 2:27 a.m., Spierer is seen exiting the bar with Rossman. Spierer left her cell phone and shoes at the bar. She had taken off her shoes when she walked out onto the sand-covered patio. Rossman walked with Spierer to her apartment complex. 2:30 a.m., Spierer is seen entering Smallwood Plaza Apartments, where her residence is located. A passerby named Zach Oakes noticed her level of inebriation and asked if she was okay. 2:48 a.m., after she left the apartments, Spierer entered an alley that runs between College Avenue and Morton Street. Security cameras mounted on nearby apartments show her exit the alley. 2:51 a.m. and walk toward an empty lot. Spierer's keys and purse were found along this route through the alley. Spierer and Rossman arrived at Rossman's apartment shortly afterward. Michael Beth, Rossman's roommate, was at the apartment. Rossman himself was very intoxicated and stumbling. He vomited on the carpet on the way upstairs. Beth stated that he escorted Rossman to bed. He then tried to persuade Spierer to sleep over for her own safety. He claimed Spierer said she wanted to return to her own apartment. 3:30 a.m., Beth said he then phoned his neighbor, Rosenbaum, wanting him to take care of Spierer. Beth said that Spierer was attempting to get Beth to drink with her at her own apartment. She eventually went to Rosenbaum's apartment, where he observed a bruise under her eye, presumably sustained in a fall earlier that evening. She told him she didn't know how she got the bruise. 2 calls were placed from Rosenbaum's phone shortly before she is reported to have left. Rosenbaum said Spierer placed both calls, one to Ron and one to another friend. Neither picked up, and no messages were left. 4:30 a.m., Rosenbaum reports that Spierer left the apartment. This is the last reported sighting of her. He reported last seeing Spierer at the intersection of 11th Street and College Avenue, headed south on College. She was last seen barefoot, wearing black leggings and a white shirt. Several hours later that morning, Wolf sent Spierer a text. He received a reply from an employee at the bar. Wolf reported Spierer missing.
After a night out with friends. Spierer's night started around 12:30 a.m. when she left her apartment at Smallwood Plaza with friend David Ron. They walked to a row of townhomes on 11th Street and hung out with friend Jay Rosenbaum and his neighbors Corey Rossman and Mike Beth. After an hour or so, Spierer and Rossman headed to Kilroy's, a combination sports beach bar where they stayed for about 40 minutes. Spierer left her shoes and cell phone at Kilroy's, likely because she was playing in the sand. She was barefoot as she headed back to Smallwood with Rossman. Spierer and Rossman entered Smallwood at 2:30 a.m. and stayed for 12 minutes. At Smallwood, someone confronted them, and Rossman was punched in the face. Spierer walked Rossman home, losing her purse and keys along the way. Rossman's roommate, Mike Beth, who had been home writing term papers, put Rossman to bed. Spierer returned to Rosenbaum's apartment. At some point after 4 a.m., Spierer called Ron, who was asleep, using Rosenbaum's cell phone. Rosenbaum tried to persuade Spierer to sleep on his couch, but she wanted to go home. Rosenbaum saw Spierer walk up 11th Street and turn right on College Avenue at 4:30 a.m. That was the last time anyone saw her. Spierer was never more than a few blocks from her apartment the entire night.
Wolf reported Spierer missing. There's no security cameras in the area, so authorities have to take Rosenbaum's word that Spierer left the apartment at 4:30 a.m. A search and investigation begins immediately. In August of 2011, police conducted a 9-day search of the Sycamore Ridge landfill in Pimento south of Terre Haute for clues in the disappearance. The landfill is where trash from Bloomington is hauled after a stop at a transfer station. The Bloomingdale Police Department, the Indiana University Police Department and the FBI took part in the search. As of May 24, 2013, investigators had received 3,060 tips on Spierer's disappearance, 100 of them received during the first half of 2013. April 2015, Bloomington police announced their investigative possible link in between Spierer's disappearance and the murder of another IU student, Hannah Wilson. Wilson went missing April 24, 2015 after visiting Kilroy's, the same bar that Spierer visited the night she disappeared. Wilson was last seen getting into a taxi in front of the bar and driving away. Her body was found the next morning in Brown County. A local man named Daniel Messel was arrested for the murder after his cell phone was discovered near her body in July 2015. Authorities concluded that the two cases are unrelated and any similarities between the two cases were coincidental. On January 28, 2016, the FBI and other police agencies investigated a property in the 2900 block of Old Morgantown Road in Martinsville, approximately 20 miles north of Bloomington. According to a statement released by the FBI, investigators were following up on leads and tips in Morgan County regarding the disappearance of Lauren Spierer. The property was connected to a man named Justin Wagers, who resided there with his mother and stepfather. Wagers was suspected of exposing himself to numerous local women. Investigators searched the property with cadaver dogs, which indicated potential evidence. Anthropologists dug, and sifted dirt from where the cadaver dogs hit but found nothing. Investigators also towed a white truck from the property belonging to Wagers. A number of theories have emerged in reference to what happened to Spierer that evening. Spierer's parents have stated that they believe their daughter is dead based on her level of intoxication. They also felt she may have been drugged while at the bar. We felt somebody could have slipped something into a drink at the Kilroys. That said, Robert Spierer, the family has voiced suspicions that the men she was with that evening as well as Wolf, since they refused to take police-issued polygraphs and retained lawyers soon after Spierer's disappearance. Timeline of investigation. June 3, 2011, after a night of partying, 20-year-old Lauren Spierer decides to walk home from a friend's house. The IU student is last seen around 4:30 a.m. She never makes it home. Her boyfriend later reports her missing. June 5, 2011, Spierer's parents have arrived in Bloomington as the search for her continues. The Twitter account @NewsOnLawrence is started to share news about the search. It brings national attention to Spierer's disappearance. June 6, 2011, the ground search for Spierer commences with hundreds of volunteers. June 7, 2011, Bloomington police execute a search warrant at Spierer's apartment building. June 8, 2011, divers search Lake Monroe. Colts owner Jim Irsay offers a $10,000 reward for information in the case. June 9, 2011, Spierer's parents offer a $100,000 reward for information leading to their daughter's discovery. June 11, 2011, Lauren Spierer's disappearance is featured on America's Most Wanted. June 15, 2011, after previously saying they had 10 persons of interest in the case, Bloomington police release an image of a white truck traveling in the area where Spierer was last seen. June 15, 2011, police also released 3 surveillance images of Spierer that show her heading out the night she disappeared. June 19, 2011, state police search a wooded area southwest of Martinsville. June 25, 2011, the final organized, large-scale search for Spierer near Bloomington takes place. August 16, 2011, police search through more than 4,000 tons of trash at the Sycamore Ridge landfill but turn up nothing. August 17, 2011, Robert and Charlene Spierer leave Bloomington for the first time since Lauren's disappearance. September 15, 2011, Kilroy's Sports Bar is cited for allowing Spierer in with a fake ID on the night of her disappearance. December 20, 2011, Lauren Spierer's parents say they don't think their daughter is alive. July 8, 2012, a skull is found in Indianapolis. Spierer's parents fear it may be their daughter. It turns out to belong to an Asian male. August 8, 2012, a man with guns who told police he had been watching the bar where Spierer was last seen with friends is given a mental evaluation. Police later say they don't believe he is involved in the case. April 16, 2013, skeletal remains found in a remote part of Brown County are determined not to be Lauren Spierer. June 27, 2013, Lauren Spierer's parents file a civil lawsuit against her friends Corey Rossman, Jason Rosenbaum, and Michael Beth, arguing they were negligent on the night of her disappearance. December 2, 2013, federal judge dismisses suit against Michael Beth. The suits against Corey Rossman and Jason Rosenbaum are later allowed to continue. October 1, 2014, the lawsuit against Corey Rossman and Jason Rosenbaum is dismissed. April 24, 2015, Indiana University student Hannah Wilson goes missing after being seen getting into a green and white cab. Her body is later found near Plum Creek. April 28, 2015, Bloomington police say they are investigating links between Daniel Messel, the man accused of killing Hannah Wilson, and the disappearance of Lauren Spierer. January 28, 2016, FBI agents raid a property in Martinsville in connection with Spierer's disappearance. Justin Wagers, who had been living on the property, faces charges of stalking women and exposing himself. The search turns up no remains. January 29, 2016, police declined to release the tip that led them to Wagers' home, only saying the search for Lauren Spierer remains active and ongoing. May 17, 2016, nearly 5 years later, Bloomington police release an update on the case, saying they have received more than 3,500 tips. Police say the case has never been treated as a cold case. Theories on Lauren Spierer disappearance. 1 Theory number 1, her own circle. Garrett said he started with those closest to Lauren and the young men she was with the night she disappeared. When something happens to someone, it's usually from their own circle, the veteran investigator said. Rob Spierer said the boys Lauren was with that night hired lawyers very early on, which created a wall of access for the family. Lauren's longtime boyfriend, Jesse Wolfe, helped with the searches the first couple days, but then his parents came and took him away, Rob said. I thought it was odd, he said. No witnesses reported seeing Wolfe out that night, and he said he was at home watching the NBA Finals, which ended just before midnight. He went to bed around 2:30 a.m., according to his roommate. Wolfe would not agree to be interviewed on camera by 20/20, but said he has cooperated with police and continues to deny any involvement in Lauren's disappearance. At the time, Lauren's friends described Wolfe as the most loving boyfriend, and said he couldn't have harmed Lauren. Still, Garrett said that while he's not suggesting Wolfe did anything, Garrett's not comfortable that he actually knows what he was doing in the early morning hours of June 3. Garrett said he also wanted to ask questions of Corey Rossman, who started the night out with Lauren. Police took a DNA sample from Rossman and he denied any involvement early on. I was not the last person with her and that's all I can say, I'm sorry, he told reporters in 2011. But I just hope they find her as soon as possible and I am praying for her and her family. Adding to the parents' anger, they said Rossman was the one friend who refused to talk to them or their investigators. He also claimed to have lost his memory after being slugged in Lauren's apartment building. Rob Spierer said he doesn't buy it. I think it's a case of self-preservation. Understandable human condition, Rob said. I'm not sure of anything, but what I do know is that there's been a complete lack of cooperation. And he was the person who spent the most time with Lauren in the last hours of her being seen. Rossman, who now lives in New York, declined repeated requests to talk with 20/20, and when ABC News cameras caught up with him, he said reporters would be sued if they followed him through a building's gated entrance. His attorney said Rossman continues to cooperate with police. From the beginning, Spierer's parents believed that the group of friends that Lauren Spierer was hanging out with that night knew more than they were telling the police. 4 of the men that hung out with her that night lawyered up quickly. Corey Rossman, Jay Rosenbaum, Mike Beth, and Jesse Wolfe are all still considered persons of interest in Spierer's disappearance, though not suspects. Even though Jesse Wolfe said he was at his home in the early hours of June 3, police can neither prove nor disprove his alibi. Had his friends that encountered Spierer and Rossman at her building contacted him about her being drunk and in the company of another man? While all were cooperative with the investigation, some of their parents did not allow them to take police polygraphs. Instead, some took lawyer-appointed, third-party polygraphs. Rosenbaum and Wolfe claim they passed the independent tests, but the results have not been made public. Theories on Lauren Spierer disappearance. 2 Daniel Messel mothers of Hannah Wilson, Lauren Spierer believe convicted killer Daniel Messel could be tied to more unsolved cases. Serial killer, Daniel Messel convicted of murder IU student Hannah Wilson, possible link to missing IU student Lauren Spierer. Daniel Messel is a serial rapist who may very well be a serial killer. He preyed on young female IU college students who had been out partying in Bloomington Inn. It appears that Daniel Messel's favorite haunt for hunting young inebriated IU females was Kilroy's Sports Bar. Records indicate that Daniel Edward Messel, Dob August 7, 1965, age 55, has been convicted of 1 murder, 1 rape, and 1 attempted rape. How many other unsolved cases are there near the IU campus that could have originated at Kilroy's Sports Bar? For Daniel Messel, the murder conviction of Hannah Wilson adds to decades of violent behavior frequently against women that stretches back into the 1980s and landed Messel in county jail and state prison. Theories on Lauren Spierer disappearance. 3. Justin Wagers. On January 28, 2016, the FBI and other police agencies investigated a property in the 2900 block of Old Morgantown Road in Martinsville, approximately 20 miles, 32 kilometers, north of Bloomington. According to a statement released by the FBI, investigators were following up on leads and tips in Morgan County regarding the disappearance of Lauren Spierer. The property was connected to a man, Justin Wagers, who resided there with his mother and stepfather. Wagers was suspected of exposing himself to numerous local women. Investigators searched the property with cadaver dogs, which indicated potential evidence. Anthropologists conducted a dig and sifted dirt from the barn where the cadaver dogs hit, but found nothing. Investigators also towed a white truck from the property belonging to Wagers. Theories of Lauren Spierer disappearance. 4. Stranger abduction. The police have also acknowledged they have not ruled out other possibilities, such as abduction by a stranger. Spierer's parents have previously stated that they do not believe her disappearance was a random abduction. Theories of Lauren Spierer disappearance. 5. Accidental overdose. Regarding Spierer's level of intoxication, her friends and Wolf told police that she used drugs in addition to alcohol on the night leading up to her disappearance. Wolf's mother alleged that Spierer was asked to leave the summer camp where she met her son and Rosenbaum years earlier because of drug use. "This poor little girl is not with us today because of her drug abuse," she said. On September 2, 2010, 9 months before her disappearance, Spierer was arrested on charges of public intoxication and illegal consumption. After her disappearance, police found a small amount of cocaine in her room. Rosenbaum told investigators that Spierer consumed alcohol, snorted cocaine, and crushed up Klonopin tablets that evening. Her rare heart condition long QT syndrome added to the danger of drug use. Police addressed rumors that implied Spierer may have overdosed and those with her may have hidden her body to avoid criminal charges. 30. Bo Dietl, a private investigator hired by the Spierer family, doubts that a fatal drug overdose could be enough motive to hide her death. He cited the prevalence of drug abuse on the IU campus. "Every kid's buying pot, cocaine, drinking, pills," he said. "I mean, it's all over the place. So that really can't be the motive behind it. People don't just vanish, someone knows something."